Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you're watching around the world. You're joining Speed Force Racing, and it is, of course, the Real Talk podcast. I'm Energy Dan, I'll be your host this evening, but joining me is, of course, one of our regular commentators, a very staple commentator of the SFR League, is, of course, SFR Oliver. How are you doing, Ollie?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Nice to chill down with you guys today.
Yeah, it's good, mate. Good. And of course, we've got one of our very talented drivers of the league, is of course Smoke FX44, who's also our executive admin in SFR. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you very much. You flattered.
I did try. So, of course, this evening, let's just wait for our late show. Typical Tim, joining on lastminute.com. We love it. So we'll just wait for Tim to join in. We'll welcome him in. Tim, give us a nod when you're in, mate. Until we hear from Tim, let's introduce him. He is, of course, the voice of last season's GP4 commentator, our friend from across the pond, Forever 24, JG. He's, of course, this season decided to put his racing boots on, his racing gloves, and he's actually racing in GP5. So, awesome to have a new driver to racing. And I think, Smoke, yourself, you said you relatively new, but you haven't done a full season in league racing yet, so you're also new to this, so it's good to have two new league racers in the mix. Tim, are you with us, mate?
Yeah.
Right here.
He is here. Good stuff. So yeah, guys, we are talking today, of course, is the effect or the approach to league racing. What do people do to prepare for a league race? What they feel before, during and after. It's a question I've asked myself for a long time, because I know how I feel, and I've always wondered, what do other people feel? And we've even included some of our drivers from SFR in this podcast in the form of, we did a little survey, helped by our very talented boss, Sonic Hawk, who is obviously our leader. He's at the helm of this fantastic league. And just for reference, we asked our drivers, what do you specifically do to prepare for a league race? And we did an example, mainly TT with a few fuel runs, race setup, minimal TT with mainly fuel runs in practice sessions. The second question we asked them was, what are your feelings just before a race league fixture? Do you feel excited? Are you nervous? Are you calm? A calm driver doesn't really feel anything. We also asked, what are your feelings during a race, and specifically, do you get an adrenaline rush from league racing? And then lastly, we asked our drivers, how do you feel after a race? Are you exhausted, unable to sleep from excitement, calm, etc.? So let's open it up between ourselves first, and then we'll see what our drivers said towards the end. So yeah, let's start off with, what do you guys do to prepare? Smoke, I mean, you're relatively new. Less than a season in league racing, so what do you specifically do to prepare for league racing?
I suppose it's track dependent. So, for example, this week is Monaco from GP5 to GP2, so it's going to be mostly TT because it's very qualifying based. So, I will do heavy fuel runs and get a good feel for the different tyre compounds, but it will be predominantly TT stuff for quality.
Okay, and then if it's not Monaco, if it's a traditional circuit or a non-street circuit, what would you do different to what you've just said?
So it'll be long runs under heavy fuel, using learning to manage the ERS throughout a lap and throughout a race stint. Probably not using the DRS to see what my average lap times are without it, and just tyre management, really, trying to keep the wear down to a minimum.
Yeah, I like what you said about the not using DRS, because for a few seasons now, there's been a definitive divide between drivers that use DRS in practice and drivers that don't use it. Obviously, the positives and negatives are, if you don't use it, like you said, you know your natural race pace. But if you do use it, you kind of get sucked into a false sense of security that you're fast. So I'm definitely in the camp of you, not using DRS. Yeah. You know, I did try. So yeah, that's good, mate. That's good. Moving on to Ollie, what do you do to prepare for a league race, mate?
What I did prepared for, like a few days or so before the race, I'm more like Smoke. I'm more of those persons that like to use TT to just to get a feel for the circuit at first. And interesting enough, I don't really use time trial setups. I mostly use race setups by a good friend from Sim Racing Setups YouTube channel. So I use him as a balance to get myself a racing setup, because in my mind, qualifying is, yes, it gives you a good position for a grid, and it's like top 5, top 6, top 7, whatever. You can get yourself a good position for the race. But in my view, I use a racing setup, because my view, points matter and the race. Qualifying, it's just down to a very fast lap. But when it comes to the race itself, points matter at the end of the day. Points wins championships, not qualifying. But yeah, in my view, it's mostly TT, and then normal, because you know me, Dan. I don't normally practice with you guys. I'm mostly a loner when it comes to practicing. I'm mostly one of those people that use AI to drive the car, so I can get an understanding for the tyres and everything else.
Right, okay. Like that. Good stuff. Tim, we're going to come to you now, mate. Probably one of the newest drivers in the league. I think we've only got one newer driver than yourself. He's only just joined the Discord server today. So, Tim, coming to you, mate. I kind of know what you've been doing to prep, because I've got the inside info, but just let us and our viewers know what you do to prepare for a league race.
Well, first I think I want to know what kind of inside info you had on me.
I'm the all seeing eye, I see everything.
It's like an eagle.
He's a member of the Illuminati.
Oh, man. And you're not even the boss man. I hate to know what Sonic Hawk knows about us.
He knows everything. Yeah, sneaky, crafty guy.
But the way I've been preparing is really not how I thought I would. I mean, I thought that I'd put just hours and hours and hours into practice, and I did for Bahrain, and it didn't work out. So for Spain last week, I really didn't practice at all until the weekend came along. And I'm at the point now to where I'm just wanting to get points. So I just make sure that I have a decent lap on the track. I need to make sure that I can actually make a few laps without, bending the car or putting it in the wall or something. And then I talk to people and I try to figure out, okay, what's the best strategy around here? How long are these tires going to last? And then, of course, during the race, I'm talking to my race engineer, which is Bossy Gaming. Sadly, he's not going to be able to help me out for Monaco, which, that's just unfortunate because it's Monaco. But he's helped me a lot, with strategy and just trying to keep me calm and, and to talk to me and be like, okay, don't retire the car unless the car retires itself. That is the biggest thing that he's told me that I take to heart.
Good advice. But I mean, yeah, going on from what you said, mate, you probably started league racing off a little bit better than what I did. I mean, my first season at SFR, I think I had 12 DNFs and 4 finishes or something like that because I was overdriving the car. I was trying to go as fast as possible and making mistakes. It was only when I kind of held it back a bit, really thought about the driving, the traction, the gear changes, etc. That's when it came to fruition. So I think how you're dealing with your first inter-league racing is absolutely fantastic, mate, and it's probably the best way to deal with it. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, mate. So before we move on to the next question, we'll go back to our survey we start driving. We'll run through a couple of the answers that our drivers gave. NRX Jackson says mainly TT, sometimes practice lobbies if I know the people in the league. That's a fair point. And then Swanee, one of our new drivers this season, I tried to practice laps before and try out different lines and setups in TT. So again, people utilising TT. We got Yeast, he's saying start with standard TT over a week before the race and try and take part in as many days reactive races as possible, get ideas from other people's and work out strategy. So again, people are relying on others for strategy. And probably setups as well. We've got Kavia, who's written an essay for us, bless him. My week is spent practicing. Wednesday I would usually do a balloon practice race on heavy fuel. Commit my Thursday to balloon stuff and tyre by doing 25% races and seeing whether the softs, the mediums is better tyre to start on. Friday to analyse the videos and where more time is gained. Saturday and Sunday it's TT testing out if what I did Friday is working, and then Monday I do 100% race to fully get. A new one from Kvyat here. He's saying he does a 100% race to get fully comfortable with the track tyre wear and overtaking. Now, the only thing I've got to say about that is that obviously the tyre wear, delta or percentages is slightly different. You get longer tyre wear on 100% race, so I don't fully understand where he's coming from with that one, but obviously if it works for him, he's faster than me, so yeah, fair play. And then finishing off saying Tuesday we'll do a few TTs before quali. Now, I don't know what you guys think about that. Jumping from TT to fuel to TT to fuel, I personally, that doesn't work for me. I do TT for 2 or 3 days leading to a weekend, and then the weekend I do my fuel runs. I don't like to jump between the two. Similarly, I don't like to jump between wheel and pads, you know, so that's what I would say on that one. So the Bear, one of our other admins, saying spend the first few hours on TT working out fastest ways in the corners and changing setups. Yeah, fair play. So I think the general consensus is a little bit of TT with then some fuel runs after. So we'll do two more, no, 3, we'll do 3 more. Hook it. 2 days on TT, then it's fuel runs. Minor tweaks to my setup needed, focus on tyre wear, pit strategy, etc. Racing pods, minimal TT with mainly fuel runs and practice sessions on GP mode. And then lastly, raging, I mean, I can strong finding a balance set with TT. Well, I know this isn't necessarily the best way to do things. In some people's opinion, I like the idea of doing as much as possible. You have to find some fast single lap pace for qualifying, and this also helps you find out exactly where track limits are, which I agree with. So yeah, I think based on our first question, there's a variety of approaches. But you any comments from you guys on what our drivers have said in the survey?
Yeah, you go ahead, Smoke. Go on.
What I was going to say is touch on the learning the track limits. I use TT to see where I can push.
Yeah, me too.
Like how much can I cut here? Like if I can risk another inch going over this curve, is it going to invalidate the lap? Because that translates over to the race. Because it will come up as a warning if I go too far. So I learned it that way. That's what I did for Monza last season. I learned where every bit I could cut and get away with it. So TT is useful for that aspect, but if you're purely doing TT, then you are going to be nowhere in the race. So you need to put laps in on heavy fuel, on different tyres, to make sure that you can understand where the wear is going to come from and how you can sort of manipulate it to sort of not wear as much.
Right, yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
Too soon either.
Of course. I mean, I tell you what, we'll try and speed this up because obviously we don't want this to be too long. So I'll ask you guys on the next question. So cheers for that, Smoke. On to the next one. It was basically we asked our drivers, what do you feel specifically before a league race, leading up to it? You know, I mean, I personally get very excited, a little bit nervous. You know, start to feel a bit of adrenaline coming through. I think for this one, let's start with Tim because he's got the newest out of all of us league racing. Tim, what are your feelings directly before a racing league fixture?
Well, I expected to be very nervous, but honestly, I've just seen more ready. At least looking back at Spain, because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I'm going to go into this race, I'm going to get points, I need to get redemption from Bahrain. Because for those of you who don't know, Bahrain, I wrecked out like the second or third lap at the auto spin curb corner, except I didn't even hit the curb. So I just wanted to finish the race and get points. So I was just really prepared and ready. I was a lot calmer than I really ever expected to be. And then, of course, you know, during the race, there's a lot of emotions that go on. So I bounce around from being calm to mad to everything during the race. But at the end, it's like when you're there and you get those points, you're just like, oh, hell yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, so coming on to Oliver, just give us your version of what you feel directly before you start a league race, your emotions that go through your head.
My emotions going into a league racing fixture, for me, I get I was calm at first, and then because I'm just chatting away with my teammates, race engineers, so on, have a little joke around on my stream. I know everyone, like nearly everyone, watches my stream, so yeah, and they like to joke around on my stream, so yeah, funny banters. But yeah, but I'm mostly calm, and then when lights out goes long, I'm really trying to find, because you know every driver wants to have the tunnel vision. That when you go to tunnel vision, like you're solely focused on every single corner, every single apex, every single straight, every single braking point. And once you get that tunnel vision, you just don't feel anything, but you're one with the car. So yeah, for me. But then when it comes towards the end of the race, it's nerve-wracking to hell. I mean, Spain last week for me was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. My heart was pounding through the roof because I thought I was going to win. I thought victory was in the bag, and then of course nerves got to me and then hit the chicane, the wrong place where I wanted, and I lost the 10th that I needed to get the victory. So yeah, I'm calm first, then trying to find the tunnel vision, and then after that then nerves starts to crack in towards the end of the race, because you don't know where you're going to spin out or not, or crash out or not. But it's a lot of emotions, a lot of emotions. It's mostly trying to find that balance to keep things calm, and then don't let nerves and anger overtake you. Is there one there?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah. Totally agree with what you said, mate. I'm the same. Starting off really nervous, but once I get going, maybe like 2 or 3, calm, and then throughout the race, it depends what's happening. Do I get nervous, or if someone's chasing me? So yeah, it's a big array of emotions. But going on to Smoke, yeah, give us your version of what you feel like, mate, before a league race. How are you feeling?
I'll make it quick. So lobby screen will be a level of anxiety because I'm very nervous for it, especially moving up to GP3. Going into quali, I settle down and I focus on each corner. So it's very short-sighted, so I'm not looking too far ahead into it. So it's literally corner by corner. The formation lap is just a thought process of how the start could go in many variations, whether I'll have a lightning start and shoot down the centre or down around the outside or wherever, or if I make a mistake and I drop back. Then the actual lights go out and it's deal with what's ever in front of me, whether it's I can go for a cheeky overtake on someone or hold position. In terms of actually in the race, I've settled down probably lap 2, 3 maybe. If somebody's chasing me, I make sure it's their job to worry about it and not mine.
Good, so yeah, so yours is quite a logical process, you know.
Yes.
I quite like that, yeah. So yeah, that's a really good take. I like that, mate. So thanks for that, guys. Just moving on to what our drivers have said. Guy Disloading, I feel excited with good nerves. So that's you know, a lot of people are feeling the nerves before a race. Jay Sarge used to be super nervous and would feel my heart beating. The only time I get those nerves now is if I win or pole. So yes, basically result-based nerves. Martin, excited until quali begins and calm. Sam Palmer, if I know I have some pace, of course there is a little nerves. Yeah, just fair play. Donkey Kong, one of our newer drivers, is he GP5 or is he GP3?
GP5.
So Donkey Kong, don't really feel anything. Right, okay, fair enough. So that's an interesting one. Oh yeah,
wow.
Iceman, yeah, that's his new name. He's Kimmy. Donkey Kong is now Kimmy of SFR. We've got Lewis. Lewis says he feels excited. Laser, depends, the day, the track, etc. If I know it's a strong track, I might not be as nervous. Fair play to Laser. And then JG Goliath, calm and collected, sometimes overexcited. So bouncing from one end to the other, calm and collected, and then sometimes overexcited. So again, we're getting a bit of a mix of emotions from the drivers and how they feel. So this is why I wanted to do this podcast. So you're getting so many different angles of how people feel, which is super interesting. So yeah, moving on now, we'll go to our third question we asked, which was, what are your feelings during a race? And specifically, do you get an adrenaline rush from league racing? Now, I kind of feel we've already covered this because we all commented on what we feel during a race. So I probably won't ask us all again what we did because I think we did all cover that. See, I think we'll just probably run through a couple of driver comments, and we'll go on to the post-race emotions. Jackson, after a race, during a race, nothing, just chilling. Swanee, always nothing, like dueling at 200 miles an hour. Fair play. Got Kvyat Torpedo, outside of sim or in it, as soon as you're out on track, you focus on nothing but maximising the result and extracting the most you can, so anything that comes during that is just part of what you do, and that's to win.
I agree with that one, what he said there.
Yeah, I kind of, but I think... I kind of do and I don't, but the Bear, massive adrenaline rush. Once the first lap is over, I settle down much more and just enjoy it. It's great to have something to 100% focus on. Now, this is another thing, I think a lot of drivers do get into league racing because once you're driving, you're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about your problems, you're literally just focused on that screen, either your pad or you're wheeling your pedals and doing what's needed for that hour and a half. And I think that's the thing. Even you can do whatever if you play Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever. I feel personally league racing is so immersive.
It's like an escape from the real world, isn't it? It's like the real escape, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think that's the benefit of league racing. It literally is just, you haven't got anyone else chatting to you unless it's your teammate or whatever, and you're just focused on the racing. So, yeah, it's a release. Before we go on to our last question, any other comments from you guys? Tim, do you want to mention anything on what we just said?
Well, I do agree that it is immersive, but where I'm so new at this point, I'm just kind of like, I hope I get points the whole race.
I just got an interesting comment from Lewis actually, Dan. It says this: if I'm in any decent position, I'm just a little shaky and then end up screwing up corners. He says, "Oh, bless." That's from Lewis.
Yeah, well, again, I agree with that. I mean, I'm just scanning down the questionnaires that we received. A lot of people are saying that adrenaline rush when battling. Someone says just be calm. Someone's nervous, I'm going to crash. Depends what last lap on a good quali, etc. as well. Someone says just dedicalysis, pure focus. So again, we're kind of getting the same, yet different answers, if that makes sense. So like everyone does get some sort of nerves, but I think it's dependent on the track conditions or race conditions. So yeah, this is super interesting. I'm absolutely loving this. So let's move on to our last question, because I am conscious that we need to wrap this up soon because we've been going for like 35 minutes. So what we then asked was, how do you feel after a race? Exhausted, unable to sleep, the excitement, calm, etc., etc. Now for me, I'll kick this off and just say it really depends on what happened in the race. If I get a good result and it's been a great, exciting race with adrenaline, I can't sleep for anything. I have to just chill out, maybe have a glass of wine, or just do something else other than think about the race because I'm that excited. It's like when you give a kid sugar, they bounce off the walls for hours. That's me after a race. So let's start with Smoke on this one. Smoke, in your own words, mate, what do you feel after a race, mate?
Again, to echo what you said, it depends on what's happened in the race. So, for example, going for a race win, you're just literally bouncing off the walls, so happy with yourself that you've done it. I try and take that positive energy that I've got from winning the race into the following day, because I'm buzzing for that day, if I can, for the rest of the week. If it's a bad race, for example Spain, I'm absolutely seething. I'm stupidly competitive, so I'm quite aggravated. If I make a small mistake, I do tend to dwell, which is a bit of an issue. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. So it's result dependent.
Yeah. Tim's the same as you. Tim's the same as you. He's very, very competitive, is Tim.
Very good. Go on, now we mentioned Tim. Tim, let's hear from you, mate. What do you feel after? I mean, you've done what, two races, league racing now. So let's hear from you. What do you feel after a race, mate?
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say on record that I actually have 4 league races in. Do not take my classic car pole position away from me.
Sorry, apologies, Tim. So touchy. God.
Everyone's been trying to take this away from me, so this is my chance to put it on record. But yes, it is very result dependent. Obviously, I was pissed after Bahrain, but then after Spain, I was quite happy. I got 8th place. You know, that was a few points on the board. Sure, I wanted to win. Sure, I wanted to finish better than I did, but the goal was points, so it felt like a legitimate win for me. And I actually had to tell myself I didn't win the race. That's how happy I was over it.
Okay. Yeah, so I was going to say, give us the contrast. So for when you got points, you had to come down off cloud 9, but then give us the converse reaction. What were you feeling like after Bahrain?
Well, I mean, right in the moment, I was raging. I mean, I was screaming before I hit the wall because I knew that this was going to be a race over.
I watched the stream as well. It was so funny.
I can just imagine Tim smashing his pad off the coffee table.
No, Dad. I seen the stream. It was so funny. I'll show you a clip of it after the stream. It's so funny.
I think with Tim's permission, we might end up putting that on the SFR YouTube channel. It's what the fans deserve. It's what they want.
We want it.
We'll bleep it out, Tim. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, right, yeah, cool. So I think we've heard from all of us on that one. That's cool. I think pretty much. I think we're all aligned. It depends on how we did in the race. If it's a bad or positive race, and that affects our mood after it. But I think it's conclusive that if you get a good result, you just bouncing off the walls, and I agree with what Smoke said. The next day, I mean, I don't know, I ever listened back to my race, or the stream in my van on the way to work, and I've got a good hour-long drive, so I've got like 2.5 hours a day sometimes where I can just listen, and that's what I tend to do, especially if it's a positive race. If I crashed out, then I don't listen, but I do watch the streams back. Just going on to our drivers after the race. Carl, I said, did something impressive or stupid. So pretty much echo what we said. Depends on how I do. Again, same. It depends on the result. I think across the board we're kind of getting the same answers. Let's just skip down to the bottom and see a few other drivers. We've got Martin saying depends on the race again. We've got Miltos saying, sorry, I lost it there. Miltos saying exhausted and unable to talk with people for a few hours. So again, it's kind of like the exhausted. Someone else is saying exhausted, but a good result always gives me a good vibe. So I think that's the one question so far that I think pretty much everyone's kind of aligned with. So I like that. I really do like that. It's pretty much what we're all feeling. So I think we've pretty much covered it all there. I think pretty much everyone's sort of the same. Would you not agree, guys?
Yeah, I agree.
All depends. Awesome. Right, guys.
There's one thing I do want to just point out, though.
Go on, mate.
Me and you have already had the conversation privately, but what I would strongly recommend to anyone that has a small bit of mental health issues and they want to find an outlet for it, league racing is one of the best things you can do.
It is, yeah.
Made a world of difference for me personally.
Me too.
To you about it. It focuses your mind on something else. You can concentrate on just one thing and just forget everything that's going on. That could be good, bad, whatever. And it just helps in every aspect. But I feel healthier after joining. It's
Me too.
A world of good, so I would recommend it to
I
anyone.
just to give some other people a bit of context on that awesome point you've made, mate. I mean, I used to be a massive drinker, and when I first started SFR, I was still drinking during races, and now I don't drink when I'm racing or whenever I'm practicing, and it's helped me step away from, drinking too much, which I think is important, and especially if you're feeling anxious, depressed, or any form of anxiety-based mental illness, you turn to drink to make yourself feel better. And it's a depressant, so it doesn't make you feel any better, it makes you feel worse. So that helped me step away from that, and that was my outlet. And I never look back now. You know, it's somewhere I'm happy to be. SFR is always going to be a family to me, and a lot of drivers, you know, we do call ourselves family, and that's important. So anyone out there that wants to join on this awesome league, by all means, you can find us on Quick Finder. We've got a Facebook page, we've got Twitter. Reach out to us. We have got some spaces, mainly in the GT5 tier, but we're always after reserves. And of course, we're always after commentators. So if you want to get involved in our awesome league, and you want to join a great band of brothers and sisters that just love this sport and love this game and just love league racing, then yeah, just reach out and ask us a few questions and we'll get you involved.
Shout out to the 500 odd subscribers on our YouTube channel. Big shout out.
Big up to the subscribers, thank you very much. Of course, do subscribe to our channel. This Real Talk podcast is new for us. I think we'll keep it going. It's third episode now. We'll be trying to get at least one episode out a week. Sometimes a bit of two, depending on life expectancy, what everyone's got going on. But I think that's everything from us tonight, guys, on league racing preparations of such. But I want to thank you all, Tim. Thanks for joining us, mate, and thanks for your insightful comments on your preparations and feelings, mate.
Yeah, you know, and thank you and Sonic Hawk and Oliver and Smoke and just, you know, and Bossy and everyone that has, you know, been helping me on this, because it's very new. You all let me join this league, you know, incredibly late, you know, to race in, and it's been an overwhelming sensation of support from a lot of drivers, just being like, oh yeah, you'll get there, you know, you can do this, try this, and it's just like, you know, you guys are awesome.
Tim, can I ask, mate, what's your personal view now that you're now 2 weeks of league racing? Now are you fully immersive into actual league racing yourself? Now you're more of a racer and a commentator now?
Yeah, are you converted? Are you converted soul?
I'm definitely still the commentator at heart there, but I think that I can have room for both of them.
Good man.
Nice.
On to you, mate. Cheers for joining us tonight, mate. Of course, one of our most talented commentators aside with Tim. So thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Lovely insights to our questions that we want to raise. So thanks again, mate.
Yeah, it's alright, man. Don't worry, Tim. I will be back with you on Wednesday. Don't you? Our Reunited will be back in Monaco.
Good stuff. Smoke, mate. Mate, obviously, absolute fantastic insights to what we've asked tonight. Really appreciate that, mate. So thanks again for joining us tonight, mate.
My pleasure.
Again, thank you to all our viewers, our subscribers, and if you're not listening live, we'll enjoy this podcast, and just keep an eye out for our next topic, which should be coming roughly in a week's time. So from all of SFR, the drivers, the commentators, the admins, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again shortly for the racing and the podcast. Take care.